What's going on, Dolphins fans? If you've been following along with this channel for the last month or so, you're going to know how excited I am for this video in particular because we are going to talk about one of my favorite linebackers in the 2022 NFL draft. And I know it's not Devin Lloyd. I know it's not Nakobe Dean, who I would obviously take as 1A and 1B in this draft. And without a first round or even a second rounder in this draft, it's going to be hard to land a guy like this. But the guy I want to talk about today comes as no surprise to the loyal listeners. Leo Chenal, the linebacker out of Wisconsin, 6'2", 250 pounds. You can see his combine numbers on the bottom there. But before we get into his strengths, some weaknesses, I got a video I want to show you of him blitzing the quarterback. Can't have the lazy listener. If you are also a big fan of Leo Chenal, go ahead and give the old thumbs up. Let's also hear your comments about Chenal. Talk to me about his fit. Let me know just in general if you're thinking that, hey, if he's around, which I know is probably a little bit of a far fetch right now, just because he's been showing out between the Senior Bowl, between the Combine, between his pro day. He's just been elevating his draft stock. So it's going to be a challenge. But let's talk some about Chenal's strengths. And first thing you look at when you watch him is the blitzing and the big hit ability. This guy led the Badgers the last 2 years in tackles for loss and for sacks. He meets the ball carrier, especially in between the tackles. He meets the ball carrier at the line of scrimmage and he wins. Also, they get a couple of yards after, and he's that kind of second level of defense there as the linebacker. He can finish those tackles in traffic. He can fend off blockers fairly well, where he finishes those tackles. But let's talk about his blitzing, because honestly, I think this is where he thrives. And I think at the next level, he can thrive in that blitz-heavy scheme. He gets to the quarterback with both pressures and sacks. And I have a video I want to show you real quick. It's 2 sacks that he has. The first one here, he's the middle linebacker. I'll show this again as well. But he comes around, he fights through that block. He's wearing number 45 in this video. He ends up changing in the next one. But you'll see that he finishes the sack there. Then he's got a flex. This one, he starts lined up against the left guard. He finishes there as well. It's almost like he's going to try to perform a stunt there, but he blows basically through the double team and gets to the quarterback and finishes. I'll show that again to you real quick. Like I said, that first one, he's starting at the middle linebacker. He's waiting for that gap to open. Once it does, he goes right off of that blocker, off that offensive lineman, gets to that quarterback, finishes. And you can see it was 3rd and 7 there. This one, he's starting kind of in that Dolphins package where we see where the linebackers are up front on the line of scrimmage. Here he's against the left guard. Pushes through that double. Quarterback has no chance. He's already in retreat mode. Finishes, gets to the quarterback, gets the sack. So that's the kind of stuff that we see when we're talking about Leo Chenal. Those are some of those strengths. But let's talk a little bit about some of the weaknesses, some of the areas that he could improve. Because when it comes to coverage, pass defense, this is not his jam. This is not his game. He doesn't move all that well in coverage. He's not super fluid. You always hear about hip mobility and fluid hips. That's not Chenal. Chenal is he's a pretty yoked up guy. He's a strong built guy, and some of those guys don't really move all that well, especially when it comes in coverage. And you can see by his college stats, I think he had 1 interception and like 1 pass defended in his entire collegiate career at Wisconsin. But you'll also look at his range when it comes to not only just covering and defending against the pass, but runs outside of the tackle. Because if it's within that box, if it's within that tackle box, he's about as sure as it gets. When things get a little bit wide, he doesn't have that range. If he's outside of the tackles, he's outside of his comfort zone. So those are a couple of the weaknesses, some things he'd want to improve on. But let's talk about his potential fit with the Miami Dolphins, because I talked about it during that video. Miami runs that blitz-heavy scheme. They get guys like Jerome Baker and the edge rushers even coming from the inside, and they get Javon Holland and Brandon Jones kind of lining up, and you just have so many guys you don't know where that blitz is actually going to come from. It confuses that offensive line. He's just another piece that you can fit in here, and another piece that gets to the quarterback and finishes. The other thing when you look about him, though, at the next level, is that he might need to be off the field on obvious passing downs unless he's blitzing because of that liability in coverage. So yes, there are a lot of strengths. There's some great things to his games, but those weaknesses are some things he's going to want to overcome in order to excel at the next level here. But that's what I've got for Chenal. Like I said, if you like Chenal, if you'd like to see him as a Dolphin, I know it's going to be tough. There's a lot of mocks that have him going as high as the second round now. Obviously, Miami's first pick comes at the end of the third. But I want to throw out a lot of different options, and I want to hear who else you guys might want to see a breakdown of as well. So continue to let me know in the comments. I've already added some that have been recommended from the first video we did, which was Troy Anderson, the linebacker out of Montana State. But that's what I've got for today. Thank you, Dolphins fans, and we will see you next time.